Okay guys, we're gonna talk about foreclosure. This is a topic that I know that you need to know this, right? This is a topic kind of like probate, insurance, taxes, IRAs, interest rates. These are the topics that scare new investors. You know that you need to understand these in depth, but you kick the can down the road and you convince yourself at the present moment, you lie to yourself and say, I'm gonna defer this to a later point in the future and I'll learn it then. And right now I'm gonna focus on all the easy stuff, all the path of least resistance, all the stuff that's not gonna make you any money, right? So you need to understand the process of foreclosure from start to finish, all the different ways around this, all the different angles. You need to understand this. Because if you don't, and you don't take the time to learn some of those things I just talked about, you're just gonna be one of many, right? You're never gonna be successful. You're gonna be another failure in the business, and it's gonna cost you a lot of money and a lot of wasted time. So ask yourself, guys, do I wanna be a sheep, right? Do I wanna be just another sheep in the herd? Or do I wanna be a champion like a lion, a tiger, a wolf, right? Do I wanna make a bunch of money? Do I want my peers to respect me? Do I wanna have a better lifestyle? Do I wanna quit my job? Do I wanna work for a boss forever? So take the time to learn this. Right now, you're doing so right now, so I appreciate you being here. Every minute that you watch my channel, trust me, I'm grateful for all you who come to watch me. I hope I'm helping, right? But let's talk about the foreclosure process as it pertains to a single family real estate investor, because most of y'all got into the business to create passive income, cash flow, right? That is a good way to do the business, even though you can make a lot of money flipping and wholesaling. Cash flow, mailbox money, that money while you sleep is what's gonna set you free and give you that real lifestyle. But how do we as a single family real estate investor create cash flow? The two main ways are owning rental properties or creating notes, owner finance notes, right? So let's look at the landlord first, the property owner, right? So you need to understand foreclosure because you need to understand who can take your property away from you, right? Because a lot of you don't understand the process, at least not as well as you think you do. So if you bought a property free and clear, I know none of you are doing that, right? None of you are doing that, I hope. But let's just say you committed a mortal sin and you had 100 grand in your bank account and you went and bought a 100 grand house. Let's just say you did that, which we know none of you are that stupid, so please don't do that, right? But let's just say you did. Do you actually own that property? Or do you control that property, right? Can you still lose that house? Think about that. We'll touch on that in just a second. What about foreclosure as it relates to an owner finance investor? Say you bought a house and you sold that house on owner finance, you sold it on payments to another investor or to an owner occupant, someone who's gonna live in that house, and they default on that loan and they're not paying you anymore. You're gonna have to take that property back, right? You're gonna have to understand how to foreclose. You need to understand your state's foreclosure laws because they're all different. Thankfully, I'm in Texas and we got good foreclosure laws. In 41 days, I can foreclose on a house, right? What about if they're gonna sign the property back over to you, deed in lieu of foreclosure? You need to understand this process, right? So you need to understand how it works. Some of you have states that are not favorable to you, so make sure you understand how it works in your area. Here's the last thing I wanna point out before we dig in. What about if you're marketing to the pre-foreclosure list or you're trying to buy foreclosures and you don't understand how the whole process works? You're gonna waste a bunch of money. What happens if you're competing for the same house that I'm competing for or some other more experienced investors are competing for you or competing against for the same property, right? What if you don't understand how to convey to that seller of the property how to stop a foreclosure? What if you just look like an idiot compared to other investors that you're competing against? You're not gonna get that deal. So you need to understand this process in detail, and the faster you do, the more money you're gonna make. So now let's dig into who can actually take your property. That's the most important thing, right? Who can steal my house from me? Well, this guy can, right? This is the most common way, right? The lender. So let's kind of look how the process works when we go buy a house and we use debt leverage or leverage to buy more properties, which is what you should be doing. Don't buy a house with your own cash, guys. That is a big mistake because it's gonna take forever to get to your goals. Now, if I wanna buy a house, if I wanna buy this house, I'm gonna have to use this guy's money, right? He can be a private lender or a bank or however I'm funding this deal, whatever type of lender it is. So I'm gonna buy this house and I'm gonna get the deed to this property by buying it with his money. I'm gonna go to closing and I'm gonna buy the house. He's gonna loan me the money to do so. But he's just not gonna give me the money and I'm just not gonna get the house. He needs to have some protection. And this is how it works. A promissory note and a deed of trust are gonna be created as well. I'm gonna get the deed, but a promissory note and deed of trust are gonna be created. So what is the promissory note? Let's say I bought this house for $100,000 with a 4.25% loan on a 15-year loan or a 30-year loan. It doesn't matter, right? However the terms of the loan are broken down, it's gonna be outlined in the promissory note, which is basically the IOU. I'm basically saying, I owe this lender X amount, I'm gonna pay him X amount a month, and once I make all the payments, I own the property now, free and clear, right? So the promissory note is the IOU. But what happens if I break the terms of the promissory note? How's this guy gonna get the property back from me? How is he gonna get the house back? Well, he's gonna use what's called the deed of trust. So the deed of trust is a security instrument, right? It's for their protection. So what's the best way I can describe this? I guess you can say it's kind of like the muscle, right? The deed of trust is the muscle behind getting behind the promissory note to get the property back. So if I break the terms of the promissory note, he's going to use this deed of trust to foreclose on me. He's going to get the deed of the property back, and everything's going to go down the road without me involved, except a bunch of headaches in my life. Let's kind of go down the road here a little bit and look at the second individual who can take your property from you. This is one of the ones I really want you to understand as a property owner. So let's just say, I know you're not going to do this, but let's just say you bought a house with all your own money. You put up $50,000 and you bought a house and you own it free and clear. Now you don't owe any money to a lender, but do you actually own this property or do you just control it? So the HOA is a housing authority. What if there's a payment that you have to make to them every year, your dues, but you're not making that payment? Now you owe them a bunch of money. What can happen? Even though you don't owe a lender, they can literally take your property from you and foreclose on the property. And really, it doesn't matter how much you owe them, they can do this, right? So be careful, guys. You can still lose your property to the HOA. Now, what's another way you can lose the property? Even if you don't have a lien from a lender on there and you owe the property free and clear in your mind, who can take that property from you? The tax man, right? The tax man is someone who you do not want to get involved with no matter what. So say you took the money out of your pocket. Once again, hypothetically speaking, you didn't do this, but you bought a house for $50,000 with your own cash. You own it free and clear, but you're not paying your taxes. What's going to happen? The county tax assessor is going to find out you're not paying them, and you're going to get foreclosed on. You're going to lose that house because you're not paying your taxes on it, right? So let's look at something that's interesting here. So normally, the first position lien on property, first position lien would be the lender. But let's say there's no lender involved. And let's just say you weren't paying your HOAs. And 2 years down the road or whatever, however much time down the road, you started not paying your taxes, right? What's going to happen? Even though you owe them first and you miss payments to them first, who can foreclose on you? Who's going to be in first position now? So taxes, this is interesting, guys, are a superior lien to all other liens. The city or the county is going to jump in front of these individuals right here and can actually foreclose on you. They can even jump in front of the lender over here. So say you owed $100,000 to a lender and you're not paying your taxes. They can foreclose on you and take that house back. But that's never going to happen because this guy is smart at what he does, and this is why they escrow your taxes with your monthly payment, because they don't want to take the chance that you forget on your side and don't pay the taxes and the city or the county forecloses and wipe them out. So you need to understand the way foreclosures work, guys. I know we kind of just touched on the surface here, but these three types of individuals can literally take your property from you. The lender can steal your house. Even if you own the property free and clear with no debt leverage on it, you can still lose the house if you're not paying your HOAs. They can foreclose on you. And if you're not paying your taxes, it's a superior lien to all other liens. They can literally jump in front of the lender if that's the situation and foreclose on you and wipe every other lien behind it out. So guys, make sure you understand these guys. Will have other videos talking about foreclosure. If you like today's video, hit that subscribe button. See you when I see you guys. Have a good day.